Good evening, cats and kittens. I am struggling with some chords here and realized that I should just start talking while I'm fixing it. Okay, it's fixed. Oh, I hope you have some water and your stuffed animal of choice. As always, I am joined by Reynard the Fox. Tonight we're going to play Mushroom Musume, which I don't really know what to expect. It kind of looks like a visual novel, has a little bit of a gremlin core thing going on with the color palette. But beyond that, I'm not entirely sure. I've made some audio adjustments, so let me know in chat how that's going. Um, I'm still screwing with it, which, as you well know, I do all stream every single time. If you're new, I'm Spriggan. Hi. I am a miserable person who plays weird games for you. Um, let's see how chat's doing. Chat's fine. Hello, Emily, Hades, Lonely Girl, Donk, and Drapsnat. Great to see you as always. See, now that looks too loud to me, music-wise. Feel free to let me know how the levels are. So I hope that your week is going well. I must say, I've been thinking about They Came from a Communist Planet all week. As soon as the stream ended last week, I went and looked it up. It is the same developer as A Bewitching Revolution, which is the game that I spent the whole stream trying to remember the name of, so go me. As soon as I got the Easter egg, the graffiti Easter egg, and I saw the square wheel bike, I was like, oh, clearly a reference to this other game that I couldn't remember the name of, which is A Bewitching Revolution. Oh, let's see. It's 8:04. We'll give it another minute and then we're gonna magically over to the game screen. Let's see. Any housekeeping? I guess before we get started, feel free to follow me if you don't already on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. That's Commie Spriggan. And I do accept tips. That's ko-fi.com/Spriggan, Spriggan. Just my name, no commie. Things that I have upcoming. I actually am thinking about. So, one of the streamers that I really enjoy watching, Gab Smolders, has started playing one of my favorite franchises. And in fact, if you go to the YouTube, you can even find a couple of very old VODs from my original run at streaming, which is the Rusty Lake Cube Escape series, and it's kind of making me want to replay it, if for no other reason than to go through and explain all of the lore and then go into the full-length games, because there's 9 Cube Escapes, and those are free, and then well, they're free if you play them on your phone, but you can get them preserved because they would not have survived the Flash Apocalypse. You can get them preserved as a bundle on Steam also. And then there's... How many full-length games are there to go with Rusty Lake? Let's see. Roots, Hotel, Paradise, Paradox, White Door, and then I believe they just put out another one. So so 9 short games and 6 full-length games. I would love to do a full run-through of the franchise and do enough research to be like, what is, not release order, but like chronological order. Because you gotta factor in the Van Gogh shit, and then Paradise is a hell of a prequel. So I would need to acquire that first. Actually, Roots might be first. I think Paradise is first. Regardless. And then where does Hotel fit in? Because it's technically not canon, but also it kind of references so many things in the canon games and ties some shit together, and also it's fucking brutal, and I can do it in an hour. Maybe we'll do a speed run of Hotel at some point. Anyway, that's what I'm thinking is I'd like to revisit the Rusty Lake series. I can't play Alan Wake 2 or 1 on anything that I have. So, Rusty Lake has always been a franchise that I'm like, ugh, they need a crossover with Alan Wake. Because the concepts of, like, the dark presence and then, like, the lake stealing memories, like, it's very... they mesh well for me. So I would love to see that. So, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I don't know. Let me know what you think on Twitter or in chat. Let's see. Mark Zink, thanks for joining us. Alright, it's 8:07. Let's do the... over here. Oh yeah, I turned the music off because it just looped and I was losing my shit. So we're gonna have to redo the levels here. That's pretty low. There we go. That's not bad compared to my voice volume. Alright, now they have the dyslexia font for this game, which I do not need, and I'll be reading for you, so no need to worry about that. Okay, here we go. I'm so excited to start this. Ooh, okay. This is very old-timey. I love the like bitmap art. And I feel like the frame, I don't have anything up where I can see it, but I feel like the frame probably looks really good with my stream frame. That's all I'm saying. This game was made for me. Alright, once upon a time, there was a humble recluse. Though they had no need for society, they did often find themselves home to a loneliness that they could never quite shake. Oh wow, it really is meant for me. They're describing me already. In the morning, the sun would rise. At night, it would set. The recluse would observe this splendor, knowing that the sight would be made all the more beautiful by having someone to share it with. It wasn't that they desired a relationship. Perhaps it was a flame that had burned them one too many times, or perhaps they were simply disinterested. No, a child. That's what they wanted. Someone to take care of, to teach. Unfortunately, it was a longing that could not be found. No, not in these woods alone. However, we are never quite as alone as we think, are we? One day a witch appeared, as if drawn by the intensity of the recluse's desire. The lumber that the recluse had spent the morning gathering slipped through their hands as they spotted her, the witch of the woods. She began to speak. You desire a child, yes? For some, those are quite easy to come by, but not you, it would seem. Let us make a deal, then. If you do 3 simple chores for me, I will present you with a daughter of your very own. The recluse, caught in a moment of naivete, quickly agreed. Alright. Daughter checklist. Task 1, Task 2, Task 3, meet daughter's smiley face. Okay. Let's actually... Is this my inventory? It looks like a bag. Your child will come into this world with little to her name. Let us even the scales. Now that says spring. Let me make sure that clicking that didn't make me skip something. It did. The witch, knowing that the recluse was destined to accept, simply nodded and began to deliver the first of these so-called chores without hesitation. Heirloom. Your child will come into this world with little to her name. Let us even the scales. Bring me an heirloom, something she will forever value. The recluse thought on it briefly, searching through their home for the object they had pictured. A glimmering music box. Your most used cast iron skillet. The sharpest knife you own. So, do we want someone that stabs, someone that cooks, or someone that either likes or makes music? 1, 2, or 3. 1 for the music, 2 for the skillet, 3 for the stabby knife time. I'm thinking the knife. The knife sounds good. This dagger had been purchased from a man that exuded a certain darkness. They had liked that about him, if they were being honest. The recluse wanted their daughter to have an edge in this world, and it would begin here. Bringing their prize back to the witch, she simply gave a smile. How perfect. After their brief detour to meet with the witch, the recluse resumed their normal day-to-day schedule. The second day. The recluse slept more soundly that night than they had in ages. Having a purpose again soothed them, even if they had found themselves caught up with a witch. They elected not to think about that, though. Instead, when the morning came, they simply did what they had to do, which is to say, they got up and went to meet with the witch. I want to examine the almanac. Oh, Mushipedia. We can't read any of this. Chroma collection. Oh. Okay, we can change the, coloring. Orchestration. We have 18 pieces of sheet music. And we should find music boxes and wax cylinder. Damn, we should have picked the music box. That's okay, we can play multiple times. Okay. I was just curious, I had to know. Upon entering the recluse's... Upon watching the recluse's approach, the sardonic smile lit the witch's face. You completed your first task admirably. 2 more and I can finally give you what you want. She paused for only a moment before delivering her next message of import. There have been some, activities I've been meaning to get to. Perhaps you can make yourself useful and cross one off the list for me. Not realizing that they were simply saving the witch some time, the recluse determined which tasks they were most suited for. Prepare the witch a comforting meal. Restock a selection of unsettling components. Organize a surprisingly understated collection of keepsakes. Well, man, I want to do the ingredients though. Unsettling components, yes. As the recluse began to take stock of the witch's belongings, they simply grew more and more astonished at the sort of items she kept in her possession. They dutifully gathered all manner of doll's eye, newt's tail, and even the hair from their own body. Hopefully that last thing wouldn't cause too much trouble in the future, knowing the way that witches are. Arriving back to their meeting point, the recluse was excited to report their progress to the witch. Ah, very good, how kind of you. After quickly wiping themselves down, the recluse returned to their hut for the remainder of the night. The third day. With 2 assignments complete, the recluse could feel their excitement grow. If this witch was being honest, and for some reason they felt that she was, then that meant that this could be the last night they spent without a child. They hoped so, at least. That was all they could do. Barely remembering to get dressed, the recluse dashed to the meeting spot. Again, the witch had been waiting there for them. Welcome back, recluse. Are you prepared? Today is your big day, is it not? The last task is an easy one, or at least I believe so. Bring me something colorful, something bright that you think will suit her. When they were first told of the 3 tasks, the recluse had imagined things that were much more difficult. This seemed so easy as to be a trick, which they supposed only meant they should take it seriously, as if a mistake could mean death. With death in mind, the recluse needed to decide where to search for color. A field of flowers, or a stony river. We want colors. We're picking the river, or the flowers. If someone wanted color, where else was there to even consider? The recluse decided to make their way to a particularly idyllic field of flowers. It's idyllic? Idyllic. Idyllic. Field of flowers. The field was filled with an overwhelming amount of choice. Before long, the recluse narrowed the options down to a few. What's that, a pumpkin? Milkweed, the bright orange herald of the butterflies. Foxglove, purple bell-like blooms, and also poison. Forget-me-nots, light-hearted blue flowerets. Black pansies, a Stygian omen. I want the poison foxglove, digitalis. Wild foxglove, those flowers had always enchanted the recluse, standing tall at the edges of the path. It was as though they were luring them, tempting them to stray from the path. Perhaps today the recluse just might. An edge of temptation can be healthy. We discovered the color purple. Oh! Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay. The recluse returned to the witch's hut, colored item in hand. She silently took the object, nodding her head to the recluse in recognition. The recluse stood there for a moment, unsure, before finally the witch realized what they expected. Oh, ho, ho, you want your promised daughter, don't you? Her voice was almost mocking, but at least it was not overtly cruel. I suppose I must tell you that I lied, human. I do require several more trifling things from you. First is the matter of payment. The recluse should have known that everything is for a cost. Pay me now with wealth. Pay me now with life. Pay me sometime soon in larger quantities. Pay me at a much later date in the way I choose. I don't have anything, so I can't pay with wealth, now or later. I can pay with my life right now, or I can gamble on whatever the witch would want. And, I mean, she seems to be kind of a hedge witch, right? She's asking us to gather mushrooms and shit. She probably doesn't kill people. We haven't had any indication that she means us harm. She's trying to give us a baby. Whatever you want. Witch lady. The recluse told the witch they couldn't repay her, not anytime soon. That is fine. Of course I will collect payment eventually. With the payment settled, the witch simply smiled and handed the recluse a small pot. Humans are tricky, but mushrooms are much more resilient. Consider this an upgrade. Don't worry, eventually she will develop a mind. What? So instead of a baby, we've been given a mushroom, and also that mushroom is going to become sentient at some point. Simply give her time, as much as she needs. Soon your wish will be in full bloom. This mushroom is gonna get me pregnant. Or maybe I'm gonna get the mushroom pregnant. I suppose with all that settled though, there is one last thing for you to consider. A young girl needs a proper name. The recluse thought on the witch's demand before offering the final thing they had to give. What is her name? Ooh, okay. We're naming the mushroom. So I'm tempted. I think Chanterelle is a pretty name for a mushroom. And it's also the name of a mushroom. But it could be a different kind of mushroom. And we're meant to give like a personal name. Excuse me. Everybody drink water. It's been like 20 minutes. So it should be a person's name. We will name her Nisrin. Excuse me. Then she walked away, only fate knowing if the two should ever meet again. Chapter 2, Cultivation. Though the recluse was unsure of the specifics, they did realize that it was important to heed her instructions. Care for the pot, and the dirt, and everything that lay within. So the recluse geared up, as any parent should, and assessed the things that they needed to raise a child. Alisadra, thank you for joining us. This game is interesting so far. We were promised a daughter, and we've been given a mushroom that we named Nisrin and have been assured will achieve sentience at some point. Finances, in case the nearby village had goods or services that you could not provide. Nutrients for the child to help it grow strong. They would need plenty, as it would be depleted on a daily basis. And finally, the recluse's own stamina could not be ignored. One cannot burn the candle from both ends indefinitely. Thus began the longest growing season of the recluse's life. It is spring. What do we do? Oh, what was that? Does it show that we found purple? We found purple. Okay. One day you awake slightly earlier than usual in your somewhat somnambulant state or a sleepwalker. You hear an ethereal croon originating from your garden. Is the mushroom singing? I would love it if the mushroom was singing. What does the info button do? Ah, Nisrin is a purple mushroom. The environment is acceptable. We have 3 hearts of affection. 8 nutrients. We've got 8 finances. The increment of money in this game is a finance. I have 8 finances, and if I get another finance, I'll have 9 of them. We also have 8 stamina, and Nisrin is both potted and indebted. We have not paid the witch for her yet. Okay. When you go out, you spot it. A small fairy clad in purple is sitting amongst your crops. Oh, build a small fairy garden in your daughter's room using supplies. Catch the fairy to sell in town. Jesus! Hunt the fairy to use as food for your daughter. Offer a coin to the fairy to gain their favor. So a coin, we're gonna give the fairy a finance. We don't know if it's silver, which fae tend to like, but building a garden for the fairy is going to please them. Without delay, you quickly gather your supplies. Greenery, some common foods, hell, throw in a drop of blood. Fae love that sort of thing. After consulting some books to ensure that it's an appropriate space, you lure the fairy in with treats. Though they seem unsure at first, the fairy eventually accepts your offer of a home. Though your daughter is not yet old enough to appreciate this pet, you're sure she will in time. But that was some of our food. We only have 4 nutrients now. But we gained the trait Fairy Familiar. The decision being made, life continued. While tapping some trees one day, you overhear a noise. It sounds like the clinking of coins and dice. Before long, you manage to track down the source, a wingless fairy sitting on the edge of a tree. A human. Oh no, now I'll be forced to gamble, the Fae cried out unconvincingly. I'm the dice Fae, you see. I have no choice but to gamble with every human that passes by. You even get to pick the stakes. The rules are simple. If I roll a 5 or less, I win. But if I roll a 6 or higher, well, that means that you win. Compelling, right? Is it a 6-sided die? Because that's terrible fucking odds, kid. Gambling with a fairy. What the hell, why not? What do you want to offer? A coin? A significant bag of substrate? A finger? A daughter? Holy shit. I'm going for the finger, y'all. Let's do it. What does the info of the finger say? Nothing. We're doing it. Well, if you're going to gamble with a fairy, you may as well get a keepsake out of it one way or another. The fairy grins, in fact. You swear you could even see him lick his little lips. This unsettles you. It's been a while since anyone's given me one of those. Good luck, human. Then he casts the die. Rattle, rattle, rattle. Ugh, fail. When the die lands, you feel a spike of panic that feels truer than anything you've ever known. A 5. Of course that was what was going to happen. With a wide grin, the fairy applauds. Hooray, this is my favorite part. I've always wondered why you humans are so quick to bargain limbs, but that's no skin off my nose at least. You close your eyes and hold out your hand, hoping that the fairy takes his winnings quickly. To your pain and relief, he does. You feel a brief, sharp pain, then a phantom sensation that implies your pinky is no longer yours. You curse him before retreating, clutching your hand gingerly. Huh? Something's happening. We gained what? Your daughter has changed in the night. She looks upset. Gain trait mushroom creature. One day you awaken to the sound of rustling movement and find your daughter has grown enough to be capable of rudimentary locomotion. The creature slinks around uneasily. A cute little face now greets you on her face. The creature slinks around uneasily, and a cute little face now greets you on her once featureless body. Her demeanor seems gloomy and shy, preferring to sit in dark corners for long periods of time. Encourage her discretion. Spend time nurturing her environment. Motivate her to do something safer. Environment is excellent in quality. Disposition underdeveloped and simple. You've seen mushrooms before that have a certain special gleam. Your daughter does not yet have this gleam, but she could if you raise her right. Underdeveloped and simple. Motivate her to do something safer? Or develop her environment, but it says that her environment is excellent in quality. She's indebted. We'll say safer. Concerned about your daughter's lack of enrichment, you decide to encourage her to do something else. Okay, good. I was hoping that's what it meant. You suspect she might not be getting enough sun and start taking her out for daily walks in the woods. She begins to look forward to the new routine, becoming healthier and more excitable every day. The decision being made, life continued. Your daughter needs food too, and you've just run out. Let's check and see how she's still underdeveloped. You need to find something to feed her soon, or she'll surely starve. Spend the day gathering nutritious substrate. So the substrate is the food. I'm glad I didn't offer that to the fairy. You can't spare the time today. She'll have to go hungry? That's it. Well, duh. You spend the day foraging and digging in the woods and return with a heap of mushroom food for your hungry daughter. It's a little hard to be sure, but it seems like she's thankful for your efforts. The decision being made, life continued. One evening, you hear a light knocking at your door. Quite a rare occurrence. Are we still underdeveloped and simple? Peeking through the window, you witness none other than the Witch of the Woods, standing on the doorstep of your humble hut. Could she be here for a visit, or to settle a debt? Introduce her to your daughter. Privately request a stipend. I haven't spent any money. I don't need money from her. Let's introduce her. Perhaps it was time for your daughter to meet the witch. She could maybe even learn a thing or two. The two of you answer the door and invite the gloomy woman inside for dry and awkward small talk. Something about the way the two absently stare at each other. You wonder if they've made some sort of connection today. Something happened. Underdeveloped and simple. I don't see anything different. The decision being made, life continued. Huh? Something's happening. Your daughter has changed in the night. Oh, it just said, oh, gain trait child? Question mark exclamation point? Something has changed. Check chat. Sophia, thanks for joining us. We're raising this mushroom as our daughter. One morning, you notice that your daughter is nowhere to be seen. Eventually, you discover her hiding in a narrow crevice under a large stump. Let's see if she's still underdeveloped. God damn, how? She's got a great environment. We're affectionate. She is your daughter after all, even if she doesn't always look like much of one. If your daughter is well loved, she'll be able to improve at things more quickly. Your daughter's growth is fickle. To ensure higher quality, you need to grow her in the best conditions. Eventually, the witch will come for you. You have a small magical friend that has a tendency to follow you. You have developed some rapport with your creator, the Witch of the Woods. Despite a rocky introduction, your daughter is as civil as any human child now. Huh. Okay, it's as much information as we can get. Did that, like, fill anything in the almanac? No. Mushipedia. To your surprise, the creature had now taken the form of a young girl. You feel relieved to confirm that the witch hadn't betrayed you. At your approach, she retreats shyly into the hole. She doesn't seem scared, but doesn't want to leave. We can wait for her, buy her a nice gift, or encourage her to come out. Well loved. Buy her a nice gift to celebrate her becoming a child. We haven't spent money yet. Today feels like a momentous achievement, so you tell your daughter you're going to the village to buy her a present. At the mention of presents, she quickly decides she's done being under the stump, and the two of you head back to prepare for a trip into town. Your daughter thoroughly enjoys the outing and lovingly clutches the antique doll she picked out at the market. Oh wow, we had low affection, I didn't realize. Okay. Well, we're making progress. The decision being made, life continued. I feel like the decision being made, life continued is going to enter my personal lexicon. While sitting at home one day, you hear an unexpected knock at the door. Unfortunately, when you go to answer, you find yourself face to face with a man that you never wish to see again. Though he was older now, the scar running down his cheek was unmistakable. It took me a while to find you this time, recluse. The sound of his voice sends a long-forgotten chill down your spine. This man is your former business partner from a time when you did work that was less than admirable. I'm sure all this time alone has given you plenty of time to reflect. Are you finally ready to get back to business? Give the man a significant sum of money to go away. Kill him. Beg him to leave you alone. Agree to business. Y'all. What do you think? I'm thinking we're gonna stab this dude. He showed up, we've clearly cleaned our life up, we're trying to live a good life with our daughter. And this guy wants us to go back to a life of crime. We're gonna kill this guy. Some things will never be over until, well, they're over. You had hoped it wouldn't come to this. You feel as though there is no other option. You invite the man in and offer him a seat in your main living area, then excuse yourself to prepare drinks. But unfortunately for him, he will never drink again. Before the man begins to suspect anything is wrong, you take a straight-edge razor and slit his throat from behind. The blood falls like a red sheet down his body. When you look up, you realize that your daughter has been standing there watching this whole time. She doesn't react strongly, but you fear this may leave an impression on her regardless. Oh. Your daughter needs food too, and you've just run out. You need to find something to feed her, sooner she'll surely starve. Spend the day. Yeah, we're gonna gather shit for her. We spend the day foraging and digging in the woods and return with a heap of mushroom food for your hungry daughter. It's a little hard to be sure, but it seems like she's thankful for your efforts. We didn't lose any stamina fighting that guy. How's she feeling? She's still underdeveloped and simple. There's nothing here about her feeling some type of way about seeing us kill that guy. The decision being made, life continued. In end? One night you find yourself struggling to sleep. Your mind wanders as you consider your current place in life. You've lived peacefully with your daughter for many moons. Initially it was strange. Well, it never stopped being strange, but you were always thankful for the company. Besides, the affection you felt for her was like any parent would feel toward their child. That was normal, at least. Your thoughts turned to the concept of time, particularly how you were once alone and how you are afraid that you will be again someday. What was that I just touched? Your daughter has had more and more curiosities about the outside world. It's only a matter of time before she wants to strike her own path. You hope you'll be fulfilled now. You hope you've done enough. Ultimately, you find comfort in what you've done. You may have had many failures in your life, but there's one thing you know you can die proud of. Oh. We gained the trait dripping, decay, and tasty. And a new beginning. Nothing. Huh. Telling the recluse that you wanted to see more of the world wasn't an easy conversation. Oh, we're the mushroom now. As they grew older, you worried about leaving them on their own. Thankfully, your concerns were unwarranted. They were happy that you had grown enough to want to move out. They even offered to help you build your own home, close to theirs. You were welcome to visit any time, obviously. Faster than you would have anticipated, the two of you built your home together. They showed you all the tricks they knew and made sure to impart as much knowledge as they possibly could. Finally, the day arrived. You were officially on your own. You were scared a little, but also excited. It felt like a new chapter was just beginning for you. Oh, we gained the trait loving parent. Okay, so Chapter 3, a girl on her own. Dampness, mycelium, robustness, potency, and humanity. I'm extremely damp and human. Yeah, tell me. Purple ink cap. Oh my gosh. A shaggy mushroom that decays into a black slime over time. Nisrin the purple ink cap. Oh my gosh. Very cute. There's the fairy. Dripping. If your body exudes a strange liquid and drips constantly. Decay. Drop by drop, your body decays over time. And tasty. Your body, like many others, can be used safely as a substance by humans. Increased by a good soak or by a melancholic moment. This stat indicates how wet and slimy her body is, but also a murkiness of the soul. That was dampness of 50. This is mycelium 20. Increased by the right nutrients or by things that nourish the soul. This stat is associated with how generally healthy she is. Ooh, I'm sickly, just like in real life. And yet it could also be a persistent optimism. I'm pessimistic and sickly. Robustness. Come on. Increased by the ideal growing conditions. Really? But it was such a good environment and high affection. Okay. Or by a loving presence. I don't understand why it's not. This stat is associated with her physical strength, but also could be a strength of character. Potency. Increased by a titillating meal or by titillating danger. Just titillation in general makes you potent. This stat is tied to the strength of her mushroom type or her ability to perform in stressful situations. And humanity 45, increased by thorough socialization or by doing the right thing. This stat is how good of a person she is, literally and metaphorically. These are her shroomy qualities. Cards and tokens. Nope. Times 1. Don't like an event? Use one of these cards and you can be on your way back home in no time. Okay, we have one nope out of jail free card. Cards represent choices you have to make in life. Though you won't be able to use special cards in every event, they will automatically be dealt to you in appropriate situations. This is going to turn into a card game. Be careful, most card types are limited. When they're out, unless you can find a way to gain more. We've got 3 Soma cards. Your body is made of a useful resource, but you must be mindful not to give too much of yourself away. Oof. Yeah. All of us. On use, it gives you a little snack for later at least. A little snack for later. Okay. Wealth times 2. Everything in this world comes for a price. Use these to purchase goods or otherwise improve your circumstances. Oh. Tokens represent expendable resources. You can stack these on the corners of some specific cards to bend the odds in your favor. Use them wisely or not. Okay. About me, I'm a young adult. You've grown into a young woman unexpectedly. Reputation, relative obscurity. People don't think much about you. That's okay. You say something about my fairy? No. Family matters. I have a mystic bond. You develop some rapport with your creator, the Witch of the Woods, and a loving parent. The recluse will always live in your heart, and for the time being, next door. Pet's very familiar if you have a small, magical friend that has a tendency to follow you. Okay, that's... Wait. Oh, okay, that's just... And we haven't gotten any more of anything. Okay. Chapter 3, A Girl on Her Own. Let's save. We've made it to Chapter 3 and we haven't saved at all. The sun is low in the sky, casting a beautiful warm tint across everything that you saw. Today it is a particularly beautiful night, blossoming fruit trees and the wind blowing through the grass. Your eyes feel heavy, and suddenly you find yourself falling into a deep sleep. In your dreams, you're sitting on a tree branch. There's a flute playing somewhere. Then suddenly the flute is next to you. Attached to it is the vague shape of a woman. I haven't seen you around here before. Welcome. Whenever you go to look at her, it feels like she shifts. You can't quite describe her. You probably won't remember me when you wake up, but it's nice to meet you. After sitting in silence for a second, she starts playing again. Try to memorize this place. Where do you go when I'm awake? Sing along or fly. Try to memorize this place. We should focus on the mycelium. Increased by the right nutrients or by things that nourish the soul. Associate with how generally healthy and also be optimism. When I'm awake, it doesn't seem optimistic. Sing along. Flying is optimistic in a dream, right? Let's do it. The landscape looks so lush, you feel compelled to enjoy it thoroughly. You lean over, falling off the branch and into the air. You spin in circles and span out. The feeling of the wind in your hair invigorates you. When you wake up, you feel like you've slept for far longer than you had. You put the feeling behind you. It's dark out. You should be getting home. My potency went up instead of my mycelium. Right? It doesn't say. One morning you are out foraging when you hear muffled voices in the distance. When you approach, you spot a rather odd group of 3. The first 2 look like human hunters, but the other one looks to be some sort of magical being. She has tendril-like appendages that sprout from the top of her head, and her body is made of delicate hues of purple with bits of ice blue. Slowly you begin to feel a connection with her. You suspect this may be a kind of fungal kinship. The hunters are happily chatting, but you begin to get the impression that the violet girl would really rather not be with them. Ignore, approach, attempt to eavesdrop. We're going for it. Are these guys fucking bothering you, miss? Sensing a potentially volatile situation, you decide to try and join their conversation. Apparently, that's right, rolling low? We'll see. You approach the group and say hello, causing the hunters to jump at your sudden appearance. The violet girl seems a little puzzled, but you simply greet her as well. Before long, it seems that your unsettling appearance has an effect on the hunters. They mumble something and take their leave. As you turn to watch them run, you hear a soft "thank you" from the other fungal girl. She gives you a little smile, and with a nod, you go to leave. Wait, can I... Turning back, you see the violet girl nervously rubbing one of her head branches. It seems like she has something she wants to say, but doesn't know how. On a whim, you invite her to forage with you. With another soft smile, she joins you. The 2 of you spend a calm and quiet afternoon foraging together. She tends to speak in short sentences, and often takes a more passive role in the conversation, but the 2 of you manage to bond over your equally strange upbringing. When it comes time to go your separate ways, she thanks you again. I hope I get to see you again, Nisrin. What do we gain? More potency. Are we gonna get any mycelium or robustness? We're also getting dampness. Walking around the village one day, you overhear a gaggle of fun-sized humans giggling the time away. You gradually sneak up on them and get close. Remarkably close. Let's see how we're doing. Oh, I guess that is it. We don't check if we're underdeveloped and simple now. We need loving presence. I don't understand how the fairy isn't doing that. And we have a loving parent and a mystic bond? What do we gotta do to develop these stats? They don't really seem to care that you're there. Hey, wait, are they ignoring you on purpose? The nerve of some fleshies. At least you can listen into whatever seems to be so engrossing. How much? One of the children exclaims, her jaw dropped in sheer awe of another kid, whose chest is proudly puffed out. With a grin, the child reiterates, enough to buy 3 bags of candy. No fair, a child cries out. When I lost mine, all she brought me was enough for a hoop and stick. The kids looked at the child with pity. Hoop and stick was so last season. Well, anyway, the boastful kid continued, I have another one loose, so I can expect even more candy here soon. Well, that's not fair. I want to lose a tooth. You're younger than me. What gives? It's probably because of all that candy, one of the kids said, getting met with only a shrug from the proud child as he snacked on his treats. Whatever, I'm gonna go home and pull my tooth out myself, and when you see me next, I'll have 4 bags of candy. The girl stormed off, determined to come into some coin of her own. Which is odd when you think about it. Do these kids get money for their teeth? Do they sell their other parts? You wonder briefly about the value of a kidney when you hear one of the gremlins shout, "Be sure to put it under your pillow." Aha, you realize. There's a caveat. One must need a tooth and then store it under their pillow. And then... money? Last you checked, what you'd consider your teeth grow back after some time. This could prove to be lucrative. This could prove to be a lucrative venture. Your teeth grow back, so you're just gonna scam the tooth fairy? That's hilarious. Oh, I don't think the Fae will like that, though. You do have a Fae friend, but one of your parents definitely gave their finger to a Fae in a dice game one time. I don't know why I did that. I just was like, fuck it. At length you arrive home and find yourself less certain about this than you were in the village. It's not like the fun-sized humans are known for their honesty. You pause a moment and think. One tooth won't kill you, go for it. Decide against it. No, we're doing this. Our teeth grow back. We said so. Not wanting to put any more time in attempting to convince yourself otherwise, you reach up into your mouth and grab a hold of what passes in your body as a tooth. Slowly, steadily, pressure builds as you pull, and then... yow! That hurts quite a bit. No matter what, your tooth won't come out. Your body is too tough to let it wrench free. Son of a bitch. You could always force it, but you're not sure that's such a great idea. Wrench it. Cut your losses. We've been cutting stuff off ourselves since we started this game. At this point, you've sunk enough effort into it that you may as well go for broke. Putting all your strength behind the attempt, you wrench one of your bony nodules and hear a distant crack. The pain is blinding for a moment, but you find yourself presently staring down at a tooth in hand. I'm looking to see if anything changed on our stats. We lost some robustness. I think we gained potency again. Victorious, we still have not gained any fucking mycelium, and we really need to gain robustness. I gotta stop cutting stuff off myself. Victorious, you are now in the possession of a detached tooth and are eager to see what comes with resting it under your pillow. You snap awake in the middle of the night, your first thought of being what lays beneath your pillow. But when you check, you find nothing. Not even your tooth remains. So you're awake then, eh? A small voice chimes from the center of your room. Glancing over, you spot an ill-tempered fairy and their few companions. See, here's the ting. You's put a tooth under the pillow. All fine and fair. Till that tooth turns out tain't be a tooth. The group of Fae all stare you down. You suspect it's for the best to remain still and listen to the big palooka up front. Now I'm a reasonable guy. I clock in, I clock out, and I done want no trouble now. No trouble, no how. But the issue here said the boss lady ain't too keen on these types of shenanigans. Now I can see you're just an innocent mush lady, and this ordeal can be overlooked. O-V-U-H. It can be overlooked this time. Unfortunately, we ain't able to give back the tooth of yours. Company practice, capiche? That's okay, they grow back. Keep it. Pretty sure that one was rotten anyway. We're gonna be honest. Well, yes, that's how teeth work. At least once. You got your baby teeth and your adult teeth. No, they just grow back. They what? The fairy appears incredulous, and his companions volley fascinated whispers between themselves. You saying you got a replenishable supply? You shrug. Essentially, you do. It's not particularly pleasant to lose teeth, but it is technically doable. The fairies all pause for a moment, the gears noticeably turning in their minds. Hey, so, sorry for any unpleasantries earlier. Boss lady just really wanted the message clear, you know? But, she did also have, the fairy glanced at his companions, with each in turn offering blank stares. It actually says the fairy glazed at his companions, which I like to think means that he, like, ice creamed them. Whatever that, he threw ice cream at them, and they just stared at him in return. Right, she's got a particular taste, it would seem. What did he just say? You know, shaved over some food. It's like nice mushroom powder. And you know, if you've got a seemingly infinite supply, The fairy begins fidgeting on his person, and his companions all seem suddenly much more intrigued by your abilities. Here, take this. The fairy pulls an adorably small business card from his pocket, handing it over. You look it over, there are words on the front, and on the back, it seems. Is that a number? You're pretty sure that's a number. Though if it is, it's really long. Wow. Oh, I'm so stuffly, kittens. I should have muted to do that, and I apologize. And also, it didn't help, if that makes you feel any better. Everybody drink water. We've been playing for an hour, and I'm riveted by this. Sweet nectar of life. So stuffy. The fairy in charge catches your confusion, and upon realizing the situation, procures a different card. This one simply has a crude picture of someone kicking multiple mushrooms arranged in a circle. Give us a ring sometime, yeah? The main fairy says. Oh wait, I forgot his accent. Give us a ring sometime, yeah? Sometime... I can't stop saying the last word of the last sentence I said. Looking back at the artwork, you can't help but feel like it's a hate crime. Against mushrooms. But upon looking back up, you realize the fairies have vanished without a trace. Yeah, you gotta go find a fairy ring, and, that's made of people you're related to, apparently, and then you can call them. Only the lingering smell of bad aftershave and latent face stink remains. Unsatisfied with the lack of reward under your pillow, and annoyed by the usual fairy shenanigans, you attempt to go back to sleep. Maybe you'll check out that Tooth Fairy's deal someday. Until then, however, it's the middle of the night and sleep beckons. Yeah, if there's ever a time where, like, we have nothing left, no other option, we know that we can sell our teeth to the Queen of the Tooth Fairies as a delicacy. And it'll be, what's that creepy anime where it's a maid and she, like, gets cut up with a chainsaw every day, but she grows back? It's like that, but with mushroom teeth. That's a weird sentence, or set of sentences. Until then, however, it's the middle of the night and sleep beckons. Gained trait. Fey business card. You feel a crisp breeze. The heat is relenting. Trees are changing in color. Fall has arrived. We had an eventful summer. Ooh, excuse me. You are wandering the suburbs of the village one day when you notice an unusual sight. Before you is a collection of 5 or 6 young humans crowded together in a circle. When you walk closer, you can more clearly hear the words they seem to be shouting at each other. Damn it, one of them cries out. I should have went scroll. You should always go scroll against you. Scrolls. Are these people scholars? When you take a closer look, you can see the group reset. 2 new humans go to the center. They're playing Jankenpon. 2 new humans go to the center of the circle, holding one fist out each. The rest of the group took an anticipatory position, looking on intense excitement. This is it. If you win this, you win the whole pot, one of the onlookers was speaking closely to one competitor. How intriguing. A pot? A prize pot? You only have a boring old regular pot. A prize pot would be quite the upgrade. In fact, you can see it from here, an ornate box near the edge of the group. You want the pot. How do you try to get it? Join the competition. Ooh, excuse me. Join the competition last minute. They're only humans. Scare them away from the prize. This can't be legal. Report them to the authorities. I don't want or need a new pot. I will never want or need a new pot, so I would never get the chance to do it again later. We're not doing that, and we're not a bootlegger. So do we want to scare them, or do we want to join the competition? They're only humans. Scare them away from the prize. That's not very nice. Let's try it. We gave our finger to that fairy. We can play rock, paper, scissors with a bunch of kids. You're not sure if it's too late to join, but you figure it's getting later every passing second. Without another moment of delay, you run forward and implore them to let you join this mysterious ceremony. The humans share looks with each other, then words. Do we have to? I just want to win this thing and get it over with. Of course you'd say that, Jeremy. I think a random mushroom lady showing up is a good curveball myself. What if she wins? The prize. Oh, whatever, she can have it. It's not that good anyways. Finally, they seem to reach a decision. Yeah, you can play, one of them finally tells you. You know the rules of Stone Scroll Shears, right? Unfortunately, you are forced to tell them that you do not know the rules they speak of. Thankfully, they are quick teachers. They tell you that a countdown is performed, and at the end of that countdown, you must perform a hand sign for either Stone, Scroll, or Shears. Stone can defeat Shears, Scroll can defeat Stone, and Shears can defeat Scroll. This all seems a little strange to you. This is a sort of game that you have not encountered before that requires strange symbolic thinking, but it does seem to be a game of luck at least. Don't fall for that. You're not familiar with these people, so it can't really be skill, but after a while, if you know the person well enough, it can be skill. With the rules now in your grasp, you watch the final round. Perhaps this will teach you the necessary strategy, if there is one. Did I lose 5 robustness saying I want to play this game? That's bullshit. The two final human competitors ready for their battle. 3, the audience begins to shout, the players whipping their fists back and forth in front of them in time. 2, on the last second, a glance of intensity is shared by both competitors. 1, the two throw their selection in front of them. One with the symbol you have been told means Shears, and the other Stone. The absolute madman went Stone. The crowd cheers and whoops excitedly. One of the players, the disgraced loser, mournfully re-enters the crowd. The winner, on the other hand, looks to you. Alright, stranger, let's see what you got. So as we walked up, someone was like, oh no, I should have known, always do paper against you. Which means they were the loser. So the person you use paper for advanced. And then we just watched them do Stone, which you need paper for, again. So we should do paper because you should always do paper against them. Alright, stranger, let's see what you got. You're pushed to the middle of the circle with barely a second of pause. The crowd starts shouting. We're not going to save Scrub, we're going to do it. 3, oh no, what to do. 2, you have to think quick. 1, scroll. Scroll. Without thought, you look down and see that your hand has selected the outcome for you. The crowd is silent as they gauge the situation, determining the winner. Finally, damn! Oh, I almost wish I had saved Scrubbed. Finally, after a second of shock, both you and the crowd realize the result. Your opponent proudly presents their hand. Shears. Oh no, that's bad, isn't it? The crowd is silent in disappointment. Next time, we're going to recruit a Stone Scroll Shears champion to come kick your ass, Jeremy. One of the teens states plainly, it seems you were not the champion they were hoping for. Your opponent, on the other hand, seems ecstatic. They jump up and down gleefully, finally running to the prize chest. Mine, all mine, they cried, tearing the lid open to reveal snacks? You thought the prize was a pot. Whatever, it literally doesn't matter to you anymore, but that would have given me robustness, son of a bitch. little fanfare, you simply decide it's best to leave as you go to do so. How long ago was that save? Oof. What do we think? I could skip through. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. I want to win something. How do I, Huh. Where's the mouse? Or, not the mouse, the keyboard. There we go. Yeah, we just saved, so it doesn't matter. Oh, wow, it's so much. One tooth. That's okay, they grow back. No, they grow back. Whoa, this is different. There's a knock at your door. When you go to answer it, you see a woman dressed in a somewhat tacky dress. Oh, hi, I'm from the nearby town, and I came here on behalf of all the local mothers. This is different. Is it randomly generated? Okay. This introduction leaves you feeling a little uneasy as she continues speaking. You sense that she's clearly feeling the emotion of fear. Oh, I'm so dehydrated. Everybody drink water. Yeah, we lost 5 robustness when we tried to play that rock paper scissors game. I guess it's randomly generated and like that's fine. We'll get it again. I'll probably forget what to do by then. Sophia, if I haven't said good evening, I'm sorry. Good evening. Nice to see you. Okay. We were hoping that we could convince you to come out and, show off a little for the kids, show them the real you. Is that something you'd be interested in? We could provide lunch, obviously. After some nervous chat, the woman writes down a location on a small piece of paper and thrusts it into your hands. Afterwards, she all but runs away. This is weird. You consider the strange woman and her strange invitation. You suppose you'll attend. You're perfectly content to stay home doing chores. No, we're going to find out what the hell this is. Weirdly, some part of you feels compelled to attend. Perhaps some small obligation to help children. Yeah. Do it for the kids. Excuse me. I keep not muting to do that, and I'm so sorry. I just am, drowning in my lungs and sinuses. Or maybe just the thought that if you introduced yourself to a lot of them at once, they wouldn't trouble you if they saw you in the woods later. Yeah. Quickly, the day of the event arrives. You gussy yourself up, or at least as much as is possible for a girl like you, and make the calm walk to the village schoolhouse. As you enter, it takes you a second to really take in the scene. There's nearly a dozen children of varying sizes and ages, a few older humans standing around the edges of the room, and a table with some very rudimentary foods on it. You correctly identify this as the provided lunch. As you go to take a piece of bread, one of the adults grabs your shoulder. Oh, thank goodness you showed up. I wasn't sure if you would. Why don't you go ahead and stand up front? Does that sound good? While you would have preferred some lunch first, you agree to the plan. You stand in the front of the room, in front of a dark board with white scribblings on it. The children turn silent, all staring at you wide-eyed. Finally, a number of hands shoot up. One of the parents interprets. They raise their hand if they have something they'd like to ask you. What a polite system. You look over the crowd, deciding on who to pick. You point at a random child, bald with too large of a grin. He speaks fast, but you decipher the question. How old are you? I was born in spring. Ageless. What gives us more mycelium and robustness? Nutrients or things that nourish the soul. Ideal growing conditions or a loving presence. It takes you a second to formulate your answer, but finally you figure out the best way to describe it. You explain that you were created of magic, a force that you could not put a number on. Perhaps you came into creation recently, but you had a head start. One child raises her hand for a follow-up question. What did people do before they invented clothes? Were they just naked all the time? She asks. You are forced to explain that you meant your answer more metaphorically. Children have absolutely no sense of theatrics. Did we lose some potency just now? You spend a while answering questions from the children. Finally, after a while, one of the adults speaks. Looks like we have time for one more question. It's hard to say, but you get the impression that they seem unenthused with this experience so far. You suspect that they thought that your answers would be more exciting, or perhaps more frightening for the children. Nevertheless, they seem full of questions for you. Once more, you point at a random child, a girl with pigtails. She's quick to ask, "What's your favorite color?" Purple. Literally any other color. Purple. The children's eyes lit up. Your response met with oohs and ahs. "I knew it," one of them states confidently, sitting in his seat with pride. You're glad you could meet their expectations, you suppose? I think it got robustness from that. And humanity? You glad you could meet their expectations, you suppose? After everyone is quieted down, the adults begrudgingly begin to pack things up. The children also begin to disappear, accompanied by a smattering of parents. One adult, the woman who originally requested that you attend, walks up to you. "Well, thank you for coming, I suppose." She pauses, "but we were hoping you'd be a bit more, well," she trails off with a shrug. "It's just we were all hoping to scare them a little, you know, keep them on the straight and narrow. Well, in any case, thank you for being so informative, I guess." "And boring," one of the other adults interjects as she steps out of the room. "I said I was fucking ageless and magical." The absolute gall to call you boring. Thank you. At least the children seem entertained more or less. As you go to walk home, a rogue child suddenly approaches you. "Thank you for talking to us today, mushy lady. I learned lots." Before you have a chance, the young girl leaps at you in what you can only assume was a hug. Aw. She quickly leaves with a parent, but you find yourself thankful that you took the time out of your day to attend. We lost that robustness back. The mountains bordering the northern reaches of the forest call to you. You see them every day on your adventures, and there is an overwhelming desire to climb them that simply can't be ignored. Readying yourself in the early hours of the morning, you glance over the materials you have on hand. Pack light, pack heavy, don't pack, in fact, just don't go. Pack light, we're gonna forage. Your pack's light. Oh, maybe a bit too light. You can't shake the feeling that maybe you forgot something. With your pack all set, you make your way out to the mountain. It's cool that there's actually dice rolls, but it makes it hard for me to plan what I'm going to do. That also means that there's no point, so things are random, and there's dice rolls, so that means there's no point in trying to save and redo an event, because we A, are probably not going to get it, and B, we can't control the outcome anyway, we can just influence it via decision, so... After a couple of hours, it says it's summer again. Didn't it say it was fall before? What the fuck? Can I read the shit? Thank you. After a couple of hours of climbing, you feel like you've made some decent progress, though you're starting to get a bit tired. Just as you think it's time for a break, you come across a beautiful mountain spring, complete with its own waterfall. Take a relaxing shower, train your endurance. Let's train our endurance. Fuck it. You've often heard that waterfalls are powerful. Motherfucker! So is rolling low good or bad? It seems like it changes depending on what you're doing. You could use some of that for yourself. After a quick look to ensure you're alone, you make your way to the waterfall. You know one thing for sure, it's wet. It is also powerful, you suppose. The raging waters around you are rough on your body and mind. You go to grab your pack and realize that your arms feel like wet noodles. You're forced to drag yourself home. Mountains are overrated anyways. So we just failed to... And we lost mycelium. You feel a crisp breeze. The heat is relenting. The trees are changing color. Fall has arrived. Oh, okay, that was the last one. You leave your home in the later hours of the morning one day, only to set upon a strange woman not too far from your front door. It's immediately apparent that she hasn't noticed you. Heck, she may not even notice the house that's just right there. As it stands, the slender, bespectacled woman has her gaze locked to the sky. She'd be a statue if not for a periodic wave of the hand, setting errant strands of silver back into a messy ponytail. Watching for her for a moment, you stand to reason that maybe something's wrong. Plus, she looks harmless enough. Maybe she's worth approaching. Can I help you? Play it safe and leave her alone. Attempt to scare her off. Can I help you? The woman whirls around, caught off guard by your sudden appearance. Oh, I'm sorry, she stammers before catching a good look at you. Oh, my, you're an interesting creature, aren't you? Her inquisition borders heavily on the familiar, but you let it slide. Are you by chance the mycelial maiden of these woods? I've heard so much about you. It's such a shame I'm pursuing other interests right now. I would love so much to study you. Sorry, is that weird? That's weird, right? The woman pushes back a series of stray hairs, smiling sweetly through thin lips and eyes that glitter like velvet gems. It's almost enthralling. Ah, right then. I should introduce myself. My name's Kalia. I suppose what you'd call a scholar of sorts. I study all sorts of creatures, both mythical and speculative, ranging from all sorts of quasi-humanoid beings to amorphous energies. My primary field of study is in the realm of the Fae. Tricky little friends, I tell you what. Lately I've been trying to uncover traces of this cheeky bugger, a Fae prince by the name of Cupid. I don't suppose you've seen a foul-mouthed baby flying around shouting at people... shooting at people, have you? Is that a riddle? What do you think the answer to that is? Why am I gonna be mean? Is that a riddle? Kalia put a finger to her chin. I do suppose it sounds odd, huh? Still, there is that little gremlin around here somewhere. My, sources have provided me with good intel, I assure you. Okay, but why bother studying him if you can't find him? I guess I can let you know if I see something. Talk to me about him more. That's what I want. It's let's say a passion of mine. Everyone has their something, you know. Besides, Cupid's been a lot more active of late, and I'm curious as to why. But something tells me it's a lost cause looking for him here. Tell you what, Kalia hands you a small handbell made of lightly glowing bone. Take this and ring it if you find him. Of course, if you find anything else of interest, I would be thrilled to be notified. Holding the handbell, you give it a light jingle. To your surprise, it rings out spectacularly. Gain trait, Scholar Bell. And you know, Kalia leans in close, if ever you'd like a little studying of your own, well, Kalia's face begins to turn red as she looks away, hand on cheek and stifling a giggle. Nothing. Don't be a stranger now. She's hitting on us. She likes us. She wants the mushroom. Was that a flirtatious smile? With a grin, she saunters away. You're left feeling a myriad of emotions, though a single question remains. You're not going to, get shot by a baby just walking about, right? One day, without realizing it, you had stayed in the village much later than intended. The sun had fully set, and darkness has enveloped all. Thankfully, you are fully capable of taking care of yourself. You know the settlement well, and the lack of sun does not change that. You decide to take a shortcut through an alley, but to your surprise, there are others there as well. Quite a few others, in fact. I have 10 robustness. Fuck. It quickly becomes apparent to you that most of the alley's denizens are going into a single door. One open, you can hear the faint sounds of revelry and triumph through. Oh, let's go party! When they go to leave, many have small trinkets that seem tired from a long night of cheering. Oh, we're going. Enter the door, steal from one of these easy marks. After a while of spying, you get the impression that people are free to enter. Your people, basically, so you figure it's safe to investigate further. As you step inside, the roar of the crowd grows in volume and clarity. It takes your eyes a second to adjust to the dim light. Is this a wrestling match? You move past a few tables full of merchant goods into a larger room full of people. At the center of it all is an arena topped with a fighting ring. The ring is currently in use as two combatants circle each other. One fighter is a man in a crude grasshopper mask constructed out of dyed linen and leaves. He moves with a quick stagger step, often feinting at his opponent. His opponent, a tall figure, largely obscured by a dark cloak, counters nimbly, keeping low. You watch as the grasshopper man grabs the cloak, using it to pull his opponent around the ring. You find you're not supposed to grip people by the tights. That's not his tights, but if a wrestler was wearing a cape, you wouldn't be allowed to grab that either. You find yourself drawn towards, allowed, right? It's wrestling, but you know what I'm saying. You find yourself drawn towards the crowd. The mood of the fight is simply intoxicating. Before you know it, you're whooping and hollering with the rest. Finally, in a thrilling conclusion, the caped fighter manages to subdue the crude grasshopper. They triumphantly suplex the masked man. This is absolutely a wrestling match, to the joy of the crowd. This is like Grasshopper Luchasaurus versus, let's see, a cape but nimble. Pac. It's Grasshopper Luchasaurus versus Undertaker slash Pac. Though initially slightly concerned for the man's health, you find that both fighters have support immediately afterwards. Slowly, the crowd begins to dissipate. What a thrilling event! Are we gonna become a wrestler? Because that's fucking incredible. As you go to leave, a chubby woman wearing an elaborately decorated pair of glasses stops you. I've never seen anyone quite like you before, love. If you ever want to fight, come back here anytime. Oh, yes. I think that we could help you be something spectacular. You accept a scrap of paper the woman hands you. On it lists her name and where to find her. We've gotten so many contact informations. After giving her a quick farewell, you dash back home with much to consider. Fey business card. Small business card for the Tooth Fairy Syndicate. Scholar bell, a small handbell made of bone used to summon Kalia the Scholar. Nothing keeping track of our contacts. We've gotten so many stuff, like the Fey business cards in there. I guess the bell is the other thing, but I feel like we've been given... Oh, the scrap of paper we had earlier was to go to the school. So, we wouldn't still have that. Oh, I am running out of gas mentally, y'all, so we're coming to the station here. Let's take Miss Mushroom Nisrin home and save and wrap it on up. After giving her a quick farewell, you dash home with, much to consider. We lost robustness, gained potency. While out running errands, you find that the town is much more active than usual. Through some chance encounters, you get the impression that a sort of traveling festival has been set up outside the town. Looking around, you do happen to spot a few people in very vibrant clothes. Out of curiosity, you follow them toward a gathering of colorful tents. Is it going to be carny wrestling? As you stand there gawking, you get the feeling that you've wandered into the entertainer's living area rather than finding your way to the show itself. There are people practicing a routine, people tossing colored rods back and forth, a man sharpening knives, as well as a large number of other eccentric activities. Ask the man about his knives, get a closer look at the jugglers, push the colorfully clothed couple rehearsing lines. Ask a particularly muscular human for training tips. there's not like logos of what each. Something that nourishes the soul. Do the jugglers nourish the soul? We eat substrate. We're gonna try to get strong again. Fucking finally. As you walk up to the buff entertainer, they give you a friendly smile and an enthusiastic, "What can I do for you?" You ask if they have any tips for a mushroom trying to bulk up, and though they don't have much knowledge of fungi, they happily offer up some tricks for efficient strength training. You do some lifting while following their instructions and find it much easier than you would have thought. Heading home, you feel a little stronger. Nothing appears to have changed. We've lost robustness and haven't gained anything else. Over the past few days, you've developed a growing sense of unease, and one particularly gloomy evening, the feeling intensifies. You are in the dying days of autumn, and a chill in the air bites at your skin. As you look out into the nearby woods, you can feel a strange calling, an invisible force pulling you towards something. It seems you are being summoned. Before you decide if it's a good idea to follow, your body has already made the choice for you. You find yourself uncontrollably walking into the woods. Sometime later, you find yourself in a dark and unfamiliar grove. You are relieved to see your summoner, none other than the Witch of the Woods. However, your relief is short-lived when you see the cold and serious look on her face as you approach. "My daughter, the time has come. Though it was not yours, there is still a debt left unsettled, and I always find a way to collect payment. It seems she really does intend to make you pay for your parents' debt. After such a long time, you can't imagine what she would require of you. It certainly won't be easy. Ask her for a reprieve. It's not your debt after all. Take care of a dangerous and unsavory matter. Fight the witch. Put her off." You give an impassioned plea to the witch to cancel the debt. Reasoning, "How is one a pass?" Okay, never mind. I don't care. That you can't be held responsible for someone else's debt. She considers thoughtfully, clearly surprised by your reasoning. "Perhaps the terms could be renegotiated after all," she says, with uncharacteristic consideration. Unexpectedly, you learn the witch worked out a reasonable payment plan with your parent. It honestly makes you wonder why they didn't do this in the first place. We gained 1 robustness from doing that. But we've lost the trait of indebted. Using the proper techniques helps you make gains quicker. You grow into one unexpectedly, and we're still unknown. I don't even see where that would have been. Maybe that's where it would have been. Well, whatever, it's gone. Having taken a leisurely stroll one day, you set upon a humble shack nestled amongst dense brush across the nearby river. And from the hovel bounds a symphony of music reverberating off the trees. With curiosity grabbing hold, you saunter off the beaten path, making your way to the water's edge. To your surprise, a ramshackle bridge extends across the water, and before you know it, you're face to face with the shack's rotting door. No, we're gonna say hello. You rap your knuckles on the door. After a moment, a slight shuffling can be heard from inside. At length, the door opens, and you are greeted to the bewildered expression of a rather strange-looking crone. The figure is tall and looming, hunched over with a head still a solid foot above your own. A hood veils their eyes, and where it would expose the skin, there travels only matted whiskers, long since grayed. They have a beard growing from their eyes. You notice their skin as the crone raises a hand in greeting, gnarled and dark like the knot of a tree. And as they speak, hoarsely churning out a polite hello, you catch the subtlest torrent of voices intermingled from within, like an amalgam of souls. It has been a long while since a visitor graced my doorstep. Would you like to come inside? Surely you've been drawn by the music, no? You can't say no. You really are captivated by the music. Without delay, you take the crone up on their offer and enter their home. They seem nice enough, and you get the feeling that all the apprehension built up before has melted away. Plus, the interior smells like fresh jasmine. What better way to de-stress? The crone shows you the source of the music, a strange box at the far end of the room. As they're showing off the piece, the music stops and the crone hits a small switch, shutting down the mechanisms. This here is a phonograph used for playing music off these cylinders. Ah, okay, so we're gonna find more collectibles. The crone fiddles with the machine, taking off a black wax cylinder. This one is part of a suite, the finale. The crone hangs their head low. Unfortunately, the rest of the suite is lost to me. Without missing a beat, you recognize the format of the cylinder and retrieve one of your own, black wax and everything. The crone pauses for a moment, looks you up and down, says, "Ah, a collector yourself, eh?" It's hard to tell, but you believe a smile to have cracked somewhere beyond the mass of whiskers. If that's the case, you seem able enough. I tell you what, if you're able to collect the rest of the suite, I'll give you the finale as a gift. One cannot enjoy a suite without the full collection. You shrug. The offer seems straightforward enough, without reluctance to accept, much to the crone's satisfaction. Then I would ask to read you a story, one that might help glean the location of another cylinder. Would you be interested? It is, however, quite the long story, should you wish to do other things. Oh, shit. We can do this. We can do this and then find the cylinder so I don't forget the hint. Or we can just pick it and save so that I start on the story. Crone story. Story crone. Yeah. We have made some incredible progress. Ah yes, the crone stoops in place across from you, resting on what you assume to be their haunches. I'm gonna save that. Okay. Alright, cats and kittens. I have been mesmerized by this. I think it's really good. I think we haven't seen nothing yet. It's called Mushroom Musume. And it is pay what you like on itch. The VOD for this will be up soon, and we'll be playing this game until we finish it. I really hope you liked it. I liked it very much. Let me know what you thought of it on Twitter or in the YouTube comments or whatever. Follow me here on Twitch or on Twitter or on YouTube at CallMeSpriggan. If you would like to give me a tip, that is ko-fi.com/Spriggan, SPRIGGAN. Be good to people. Be good to strangers this week. And drink water and take good care of yourself. Oh, I'm so tired. Be good to strangers, but also be good to yourself. Wear a mask. And make good decisions. I adore you. Good night.